The very worst use of time is to work intently on something that need not be done at all. And one of the things that is holding back entrepreneurs, business owners, is killing them, by the way, and wiping out an entire generation, is this obsession with technology. I see people walking with their phones. It's almost like drug addicts mainlining. The fact is, this obsession with looking at the screen and staying connected is killing people because it stops them from focusing. Warren Buffett was at a dinner party with Bill Gates and Bill Gates Sr., and they were talking together because Bill Gates and Warren Buffett are good friends, have been for a long time. Bill Gates' father, a very successful businessman in Seattle, was. Somebody came up to them and asked, "Gentlemen, excuse me for interrupting you, but we've just been noticing you talking, and we had a question for you. What would you say is the most important skill for success?" All three turned to him and said the same word simultaneously. Focus. Focus is the key to success. That's why I'm so concerned about the attraction of distraction. It is so disturbing because it guarantees failure in life. You actually become addicted to distraction and you can't stop it. And if you are addicted to distraction, you can't focus. And if you can't focus, you haven't got a chance against someone who can. So distraction, technological distraction today, it's destroying your hopes for your future. It's keeping you busy. At the end of the day, you've accomplished nothing, and you're exhausted. Have you really thought about how much time you spend during the day distracted? The answer is about 80%. The rest of the time, by the end of the day, you're too tired to do anything worthwhile, to do the really important things that have big potential consequences. According to a recent report, at the end of a typical day today, the first average person's IQ has decreased by 10 points. That means throughout a distracting day, you get stupider all day long, and by the end of the day, you're just plain. It stimulates your mind so much that what happens, every stimulus triggers dopamine. And dopamine has the same effect as cocaine on your brain. It's a stimulus you cannot ignore. Many people get up in the middle of the night to check if there's any email, any spam, and then they go back to bed. Why are you in business? What's the purpose of your business? Well, if that's what your business is about, do you spend all of your time making sales? You know, the average business owner today spends only 11% of their time in marketing and sales. All the rest is distraction, and they don't even realize it until somebody follows them around with a camera and a stopwatch. So, I'll give you a very simple way to double your income. Here it is. When you start in the morning, leave things off. Don't check your computer, iPhone, or anything else. There's nothing there that's important. Just turn it on and leave it off. The rule for success today is to leave things off. If the reason you're in business is to generate sales and revenues, then for the first 90 minutes of each day, focus solely on revenue generation and value creation activities. Then take a 15-minute break and resume another 90 minutes doing. Discipline yourself to dedicate the first 3 hours solely to these activities. We don't turn on our computers until noon. The first time you do that, people might go crazy because it's like taking away something addictive. They might go into convulsions, but you'll have to go through your own convulsions first and then pass it on to others. Focus is more valuable than intelligence in today's world. An addiction to distraction kills creative production. Most performers, people in business, and individuals in communities are addicted to entertainment, spending the best hours of their days on video games, watching cat videos, and hooked onto social platforms that build empires for others but not. It's both a frightening and gorgeous time in human history. If you want to achieve results only 5% achieve, think, produce, and behave like that top 5% in terms of creativity and productivity are not spending their finest hours addicted to distraction. They're doing real work. And so, I want to walk you through a number of protocols that will really help you multiply your productivity in the finest of way for the next 90 days. Spend the first 90 minutes of your workday on your single most game-changing opportunity. Research has shown that the morning hours are when you have the most focus, energy, and willpower. So you'll want to use that first 90 minutes. The second piece of technology to create exponential productivity is what I call tight bubbles of total focus. Your environment is so important. If you look at B performers or C producers, they really don't pay a lot of attention to their environment. and so they get very distracted. There's lots of noises. Their phones are going off, maybe there's news in the background, maybe there's messy environments all around them, maybe there's toxic people. The way I run my work life on certain days, I am very hard to read. I mean, I see a lot of people, and it's not judging them, it's just observing them. Every time their phone rings, they check it, or they have, these loud notifications. So they're constantly being distracted. If you are being distracted by notifications, checking your phone, checking your Twitter feed, checking your Facebook feed, looking on Instagram, checking all the different platforms, that is going to destroy your focus. What I do is I have certain days that I label as creative days, and on those creative days, I actually go device-free. On those days, I go to certain places, I call them my Menlo Lab, and that's where I do my best work. So installment, where you will do your best work and get your best ideas. The next piece of technology that will help you create exponential productivity in your work life is choose your peer group really, really well. If you want to be a high performer in terms of your productivity, populate your life with high performers. Now, here we are in the modern world, and what happens subconsciously? We are modeling the behavior of the people we spend most of our time with. If you're around people who are mediocre performers, you will subconsciously start behaving like them. Why else is it important to surround yourself with a peer set or social orbit of players? Emotional contagion. You are around a social circle of people who are inspired, people who want to do great work, people who want to be ultra-productive, people who want to be innovative, people who are relentlessly optimizing their work, their thinking, their creativity. Just being around them will allow you to adopt their energy and their ways of being. And then the final technology for you to create exponential productivity is what I call learn minimalism. Now, I've worked with a lot of the most creative and productive people on the planet. If you look at the greatest empire builders economically, Musk, Steve Jobs, great example. He lived in a pretty simple house even when he was a multi-billionaire. My favorite things in life books and sushi. If you look at a great artist, they didn't fill their work days and their personal lives with a lot of things. They filled them with a few things. And if you look at any great artist, any great entrepreneur, any great business builder, any great author, any great humanitarian, they were monomaniacally focused on one thing. They were minimalists. And so, what I want to leave you with is this. Maybe this year, rather than having 50 projects that you want to achieve at the highest level, maybe pick 3. This year, rather than trying to read 20 audiobooks, 50 ebooks, go to 5 courses, I'm encouraging you to really adopt this thinking protocol of becoming a minimalist. Even your home, fill it with just a few things, right? Even your work life. Just a few projects, even your clients. Just the highest leverage clients. You've got to identify your target. Let nothing stand in your way. If you don't keep your mind on what you're doing, if you don't keep focused on the task at hand, it could slip right on by you. Whatever you're supposed to be doing for the moment, do it. You can't be thinking of everything you have to do at one time, all the time. You have to concentrate on just one thing at a time, one project, one job. If you don't, you won't accomplish anything. It takes a lot of discipline not to answer the phone every time it rings at home. Concentrate on the work at hand and demand of yourself the discipline to stay focused. If you have a long list of things to get done within a day, do the toughest ones while your concentration is at its peak. Don't let your mind wander. Stay focused. You never know what important points you'll miss. When you recognize the need to concentrate more, when you recognize this need and when you discipline yourself to stay focused, it will come easier and easier. Focused concentration can be learned. Focused concentration can become a habit if you work on it a little every day. Discipline yourself to be where you are. Work at work and play at play. Wherever you are, be there, concentrate. We talked about this in time management, but the key to building your ambition, keeping on track with all of the principles, is focused concentration. You've got to identify your target. Let nothing stand in your way. Let nothing capture your attention unless it's in the best interest of your ambition. Let not an obstacle come before you without getting around it, going over it, going under it, trying a different path until you get there. You have to have just one thing in mind. keeping on track, closing out all the noise and the clutter that gets in your way, going around all the obstacles of negativity and influence. And what if you lose your concentration? Game's over. In a major presentation, just lose your concentration for a flash of a second, and I'm telling you, you could lose it all. All the hard work, all the long hours, all the preparation, all the momentum building to that crucial. You have to concentrate on just one thing at a time. One project, one job. You have to take it one task at a time and complete it. Resilience. Resilience, being able to withstand setbacks, broken hearts and broken dreams, financial crisis, loss of loved ones, loss of enterprise, and loss of health. How would you ever handle it if you lost everything you had today? Well, number one, it would take a lot of self-discipline. It would take a lot of concentration to block out the noise and the clutter of all the negative voices trying to get through. Your negative voices and the negative voices of others around you. It would take a lot of discipline to balance the fear and anxiety with the knowing that if you did it once, you can do it all over again. What's happened has happened. You would need to get on with your life and begin again. It would take a lot of faith and trust in God to move ahead. If you lost everything tomorrow and were gathering all the courage to try again, it would take a lot of self-appreciation, knowing that you have the skills, the talent, and the strength to do it one more time. You have to approach the situation rationally and figure out how to bounce back from your loss. You have to evaluate the situation and then start a plan to recapture the lost business. Increase your market share with other businesses, network with associates to bring in a similar client or a larger one. Now, maybe your loss is a personal loss, death of a loved one, divorce, loss of a very special friendship. If your loss is a deeply personal one, you must approach the situation a little differently. Cultivating a resilient character turns what others would call failure into success. A resilient person won't give up. A resilient person will, in spite of all obstacles and setbacks, keep doing it until. To build a resilient character, you must have number one, insight, the ability to ask tough questions of yourself and be honest with your answers. If you had something to do with your loss, be honest and responsible for it. Number two is independent. A resilient person counts only on themselves to bounce back into life. Number three, although resilience is independent, it's also tied to others. The more people you're responsible to, the greater the motivation to begin again. Stronger the reason, the stronger the action. The fourth component of resilience is initiative. The ability to take charge of the situation, the ability to take charge of the problem, the ability to stand up and do whatever is necessary to get back on course. Being able to look at the situation and creatively determine the best way out, to look for solutions, to be enterprising in your approach towards starting over. Number, a sense of humor. You've got to take your ambition seriously, and you've got to take yourself seriously, but you've also got to be able to laugh at yourself, sometimes your situation. And here's the last one. Whatever you do to get back on your feet, whatever you do to bounce back into life, make sure that your upcoming success is at the service of others, not at the expense of others. Number one cornerstone for an ambitious life is concentration. And here's number three. Integrity. Ambition loses its unifying focus that comes from integrated goals, from really knowing what you want. We all shop for the greatest value at the best price, but not at the expense of others. Not when your great deal cheated someone out of their profit. Pay an honest price for an honest value. Make it good for everybody involved. Don't be cheap. Be fair. If I want something badly enough, I have to earn it. If I want something badly enough, I have to pay for it. And if I wish to have more, I must become more. I must earn more. Be like the tree that grows as high as it can. Be like the bird that soars as high as it can. Be like the flowers that bloom as much as they can. It's part of integrity. Honestly doing all you can in pursuit of what you want, in pursuit of what you'll become.